Repeat that.
Should I just repeat everything? Okay, well. Okay, the main thing, the finance committee is a very respected, very important committee. It is very rewarding if you become an intern or potentially a senator in the future. However, it is a decent amount of work, keep that in mind. We do budget deliberations for Saturday, Sunday, 2 weekends. We spend 9 hours in a room just discussing the budget for a lot of programs on campus. Big responsibility, but also really cool. That's it, that's my piece.
Okay, awesome. So now that Luca has scared you all, I'm gonna distract you with talking about the open house that's coming up. It's happening, it's the DASG ICC Mentors and OCL Open House happening this Thursday at the Student Council Chambers. And it's a great chance for you all to learn more about how you can get involved with the student organizations. And we're looking forward to sharing about what the DeAndre student government does and connecting with those who are passionate about making an impact on campus. There will be opportunities to explore different roles, meet the current members and senators, and learn about how to contribute to the student community. Thank you. Now, TV is going to be happy with you. Okay. Any advisor announcements?
It's just a welcome to a new year. We look forward to working with everyone. And if you have any questions, just let us know, and we'll be happy to answer and help you.
Thanks, Sarah. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Kerr. Maybe I've met a lot of you, but I'm the accountant for DSG and co-accountant at DeAndre. So I work with the finance committee and assist in the budget process.
Awesome. Malia, we have anything to say?
Hello everyone, my name is Malia. I'm the admin assistant for DASG and IPP. I don't have all the answers for finance committee, but I can always point you in the right direction, so you can always come to me if you have questions.
Awesome. Is Kenjiro running? No, okay. Moving on to business item 1. This is just a little icebreaker and a welcome to all the prospective interns and members of the public sitting over here. So what I would like to do is, can all the senators like raise their hands real quick? Okay, so, yeah, so we'll divide all of the interns into small groups and you will be assigned to every single senator. Feel free to ask them any questions you have, and the senators are responsible for asking them fun questions such as what's your name, where are you from, why are you in the finance committee, and whatever else you want to ask your prospective interns, okay? So if I could have like all the senators like move to one corner of the table. Look, you're fine, you're at the corner. Okay. Zach, do you want to move over to that corner?
Sure. I'll move to over there.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, how many interns do you think we have right now? Can we get like 5 people with each senator? Like everybody sitting over there can be assigned to Yan Main. And then over there, you can go to Van over there. Yes.
Can all of the prospective interns just kind of raise their hand, just for a general? Yeah, okay.
All the prospective interns on this side, move over to Zach.
Maybe I can send it a bill.
Oh, yeah, that would.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, everyone on this side of the table. You talked that side of the table.
Here too?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, Van got that. Okay, some people from Van's side move over to Zach and Luca can talk to this side of the table.
My name is Zach. I'm a second year economy certificate business. Thank you, my senator.
So, 15, 20 minutes. We have to.
I became a senator, voted in Yeah, just like you said. I thought financial audit perhaps, but I guess I wasn't really like finance guy, like this I don't basically but one thing I want to say is that you don't really learn about finance. I studied it and Unavailable that interested, I don't know, I know it's harder, and also I know this is more trying to see how you are. It's not like that language shaping the right and all that, but I know what they want, like this and I want to feel if those of you like taking the art, like you might apply something also really big we don't getting information so the finance went out that is for so likewise for this, when you have here, and then you guys what do we think like we yeah, what we really like so once we do all our questions within finance, we then bring us and say, hey, this is what we want. Is there anything besides and then some of these program might be in China or maybe we should have like there's a lot of it's actually we might go so when we vote, when we say I want to be control of the project, expertise about that. It's like you can definitely it's really small, but essentially you say like, oh, I make basically to achieve this item or it's very, very strong. What's the last year? All the biggest but yeah, I don't have an answer. I would say that committee is very switching between it's like different the idea like so related to give you like you want to why I want to
when you said that, my first year.
You can also be.
I want to understand something else. So I just feel like this would be the right path because with my experience, I'm more.
Explore.
Frustrated, so.
Yeah, I definitely encourage you guys to do
My first experience.
I think like maybe it was about this. There's something that. There's. The entire set of that's for president. There's internal members where the entire set will vote on the clubhouses running for data center.
We finance, we don't finance that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You will have more like, oh, shows you more and good among such as you and so.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe project on there. So last year, we needed to do it. People gotta, know what's the committee basically. So generally, more election. You're Yes, so I'm a budget analyst, but I'm also. It's very.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to run up at like the addition. Or yeah. I mean, regardless of we have steps of candidates for myself. Other residential later and you also. Always. Opportunities.
There's no weakness.
We did find this committee. Share on everybody. Carry on. All your stories. Coming out first, because I think that I don't have time. There's still something where one of the ways like just well pointed out. You will do it's more because we're currently but it's also I think still is the region and then the main one Senator, yeah, all in those are and events coordinator. Well, I think I guess so like but it's highly encouraged to go to the one that I mean, and every it's like a big one.
Okay, so it's fine. Why not? Okay.
It's 4:20.
So
Yanding, Van, Zach, Luca. It's 4:20, so we'll be wrapping up now. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask them at the end of the meeting. And just like wrap up, finish your conversations, like 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we move on to business item 2.
So if I to sum it up, it's seriously one, it's just be consistent and everybody. What, how do you design the whole classroom, like, there's a lot of, how do you design about that? For example, the college, there's like a good thing to be. But I think a lot of, like a lot of understanding that everybody was getting a lot to get through the population. So that was yeah, we also took much. Sound effects.
Okay, coming back to the agenda, let's move on to business item 2. This one is to discuss changes to the finance committee introduction video. First, I'm gonna play the video so that everyone here who like you can get an idea about the finance committee and what we do. And then we're going to discuss why it's not a great video and why we should change it, okay? So I want you all to pay attention and I want your inputs on this.
I think some people cannot see from that side, so should we move from?
Yes, you can like stand in the.
You can
back
stand
so
up if you cannot see the video from that side.
That would. Oh,
There's.
you guys do. Okay, can everyone see the screen right now? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is this quality so bad? It might, that's HD.
I might have the wrong file. For now, it's okay.
Funds to the right place. DSG Finance is mainly responsible for DSG's budget development, approval, and expenditure. Firstly, we can take the budget deliberations, which is the main activity for the finance committee, which will also get deeper into later on in this video. Second of all, we also collaborate with college administration and external organizations to offer added investments to the committee. And thirdly, we also explore project projects and strategies that increase the DSG.
Voting numbers and non-voting numbers. Voting numbers include the finance senators, the majority of them are necessary to review. Non-voting members of the finance committees and the faculty advice. Other one closing finance committee have budget deliberations with finance chair one-third of the senators. Finance interns are assigned to senators to give them tasks. Finance committee also on budget allocation decisions and it allows them to share governance committees so that the college can understand student needs and adjust their budgets accordingly. Biggest project of the finance committee is the yearly budget. When students enroll with cancer, their pay fees consecutively for $1 million budget that provides funding for programs above and beyond. The $1 million pot is split up into two loans. 141, which is a general fund funded by the Philadelphia DASG through students enrolled. There's also a Fund 46, which is a student representation and advocacy fund, which is sourced by the $2 student representation. Each of these funds serve a different function and has restrictions on what the money can be spent.
The finance committee is responsible for allocating $1 million from the DASG.
This structured process ensures greater consideration and accountability for the allocation of funds in an equitable and transparent manner. The DAC budget is there to enhance student experiences for learning and provide opportunities for those who are underserved. Some examples of what the DAC budget in some funds includes campus events, advocacy travel, and interviews. The list goes on.
So, if you're interested in becoming a finance intern, just follow these steps. Join 2 finance committee meetings, review the finance campus shell, and take the finance campus quiz. Once you're ready and have completed the above requirements, contact the finance chair and you'll be interviewed at the upcoming finance meeting. If you have any questions, you can reach out to any one of the finance learners or email us at dasgfinance@cambridgestate.edu. Thank you for watching.
Okay. So. Okay, moving on from that, when we like to come up to talk about the video and the changes that you have proposed. So a few things that we noticed in the video. First of all, the sound quality is pretty bad, so people cannot really hear what's going on. Second, it's not as accessible because there are no subtitles in the video, so that's something that we need to work on. These are just, like some things that I noticed right now. Third, it's just like shot using different mobile phones, so like when it all comes together, it looks really scrappy. Which is pretty apparent, so that's also something that we need to work on. Ideas, if you have any things.
So my plan right now is we will remake it with the new transcript, and we also divide the task to a certain amount of people. Like we scatter too many people last time, and I think this time we should focus on like 3 or 4 people to make the video, and also I want to maybe reduce the memes. Yeah, because I want to be published officially on our webpage. So I think we should appear more professional and also try to convey the images and the messages the finance community wants. And yeah, that's pretty.
Okay, Sounds good, yeah, we can definitely work on making it look a little bit more professional. Thank you. Does anyone have any inputs? Like, y'all have watched the video for the first time, I'm assuming.
You should ask them
So-
what they learned from the video.
Okay, yeah, that too, like, what did you learn from the video? What do you think the finance committee is about after you have watched the video, so that we can like understand what we need to work on? Any brave one, yeah, go ahead.
So when you started talking in the video, you were in the chair, then you moved down to the chair to talk. I think that's a strange move to do. Like, it would be better if you just started to talk in a straight position instead of moving around.
Right, okay.
And then at some point in the video, there was a picture of on campus and off campus. And the off campus picture just had a red cross. Why just not make a drawing of someone on the computer or something like that?
That's kind of because like, we don't really fund a lot of off-campus stuff. That's because most of the stuff. Yeah, we just cannot fund anything that's happening off our campus. So that was why there was a cross. We will work on making it more apparent in the next video. Thank you for that.
I mean, we do fund like a field trip, but no departments or anything isn't the answer from.
Go ahead, Gabe.
On the two things you mentioned, for the mic quality, if you guys don't want to buy a new mic, I feel like you guys can easily improve it using like the Adobe podcast website, where you can like improve it for free using AI. And for the captions, you can also easily do it on Premiere or just CapCut.
Okay,
And it's auto generated, so pretty easy.
okay, sounds good. I'll go there first.
Yeah, the whole video you were kind of being speeches, but I guess you should show more of the groundwork that you guys do. Like the meeting we are holding right now or something like that, the clips of those meetings, so that would be more helpful for the, like, people like us going down who are thinking to join, so we get a sneak peek of that too.
Okay, good point. Move on to Lisa first. Yes.
I just wanna add, the quality of the audio is, I think because of the speakers. Cause you can listen to the video with like headphones on or any other speaker and it sounds fine.
Okay,
The bassiness, I think is just coming from these.
okay. All the way in the back.
There's a lot of information that's just with people, talk about the deliberation, like information, but also like some other people said, there's not a lot of information, like what will actually be doing testing.
Okay. Go ahead.
I want to point out today, I think I still learned some information like what is interest, what we need to do in the steps. I think that's like kind of clear. And I think an easy way to make it, because what is shown on the video is like everyone do their project and put it together. But if you have a single format, like even it's a frame, it's almost like so easy and everyone just uses this frame and you will see consistent and professional. So the second thing I'll say is maybe links. After talk about these things, you have links. Say, oh, on the description, you know, at the bottom, there's links. Click on that, and then you'll see information, and that will be great.
Good point. Okay, I'll go there first and then.
So about the mic quality, I do understand that the speakers kind of like break that apart. But we did something similar like that in like, in a project I did, and like you can honestly just use one phone for recording and one phone for audio recording. You're using the phone as the mic, and then when you put them together, you don't need to do like, you don't need to download anything, it'll just be like much more clear because it's right next to your mouth.
Okay.
Now, since we are emphasizing so much about the quality itself, we do have a major film and television, and I think collaborating with the major might give the major people who are majoring. I'm a major of film and television. So if there's a collaboration with the major, they can really, we have cameras, Canon, and we have great mics. So I think it will make it more professional and something that can be very collaborative.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Whether you can put some more video about the daily work that as a freshman, I can know more about the finance department, what they work. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought there was like a list of things that you guys help fund, but I think it'd be a little better if you showed like maybe some of the things that you guys were able to provide to the answers so that people would kind of get like a deeper grasp of the impact, and maybe that'll persuade some people into joining the committee so they can be a part of that.
Right, okay. Go ahead.
I think actually something that you guys did do well in the videos explain how the finance committee kind of works with the other parts of the Kansas student government and everything, I thought it was actually really clear. When you're like, okay, this is what we approve, and then we take it to the Senate, and then we take it to the next board, so they'll approve. I think that was one of the things that was kind of like a pro about the video. It made it look really simple, right? Even though it was kind of funny and it was kind of like jokingly, yeah, it was, the data was like real there.
Awesome, okay.
Where is this link? Where can I find it?
It's on the agenda item, on the,
Okay.
yeah, on the finance committee website.
Refresh the page.
Thank you.
I think if this video was supposed to be more of a recruitment type of video, I think like graphics and memes were all right, like it's okay to have because it shows that you guys are not people that work corporate 9 to 5s. But if it's like, if you guys wanted to have it geared more towards being strictly informational, then I agree with what you said like earlier about like, oh, maybe kind of.
Yeah. I mean, we can still have some humor, just to a more limited level, not cats and, yeah. Anyone else? I love all the input I'm getting, by the way. I'm so happy everyone's so active and like open with talking about this. Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
Instead of like cat stuff or whatever, like in order to make it interesting, just like change the fonts and the colors. Just like something bold, something like that, and then put them on the center of the screen and stuff like that. So like that's interesting enough for like a informational video. And it's
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so I'm sure Luca or Zach would have done that. Okay, awesome, thank you. Yes, so we will start like looking at all the points that you all made tonight. Go over that and we'll start shooting the new finance video within the next 2 weeks. And then we'll show a draft in the meeting again. And again, we want feedback about that video. We'll take into account everything that was said right now. We'll use that and then we'll make a new video. And if we need any like future prospective interns to like show up in the video, then we'll announce that in the next meeting. And then some of you can like volunteer and we'll like put you in the video and give you a little bit of like lines to say. And yeah, so give us feedback in the next meeting about how the new video is. And yeah, that's pretty much it about this one. Anything else anyone wants to mention before we move on to the next one? No. Okay, moving on to business item 3, we're going to talk about the new budget request form and the changes that the finance committee has made to the budget request form. Yanning and Zach.
Yeah, could you actually let me into the Zoom meeting?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so. Yeah, are you him? No, you want me to introduce you in the form here in the Senate?
Oh, Senate. All right, where's the finance?
Do you want me to introduce this form?
No, I need to go through a slide.
Okay. I'm sharing the screen. Just put the, you can actually, I'm sharing the form already to the top of the form.
I want to share this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So first off, welcome to the finance committee once again. Yeah. But before we jump into the heart of this discussion, I would like to ask you guys a funny little question. And the question is, what does the finance committee need before making a decision? We make decisions all the time. Okay. Yeah. The finance committee, as you know, we make a lot of important decisions regarding the programs, whether or not to fund the program and how much we should fund the program. So what do we need in order to make the best possible decision? Feel free to raise your hands. Yeah. You do. Huh?
Make an interview.
Make an interview? Yeah, that's a very good answer. Anybody else? You there in the corner?
Some sort of data, like data on how much money they need or how much they spend or something like that.
Yeah, that is actually pretty important. We actually track that as well. And you there in the red shirt?
I'll just continue from what he said. A way to find the material needs, like how much is it needed in the college society?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And anybody else? Oh, you there in the white shirt?
Yeah, just knowledge on what specific programs are trying to do with the money.
Yeah. You guys, it's all amazing answers because they all fall under the same category, information. And you know, the primary way, information is very important. It's like, if you make a decision without information, it's essentially just like driving a car without knowing anything. Where's the gas pedal? How much gas you got? Where's the road? What's the destination? Oh, I'll tell you, your destination, disaster. Yeah. So what is the finance committee's primary way of gathering information? It's through this, the budget request form. We send budget request form to every program so they can fill it in, tell us about their program, how much they need, how much they use, and send it back to us. So we can use this information to debate on what to fund. However, there is a problem, you see. They have to use third-party systems like Adobe Acrobat to fill in the information. And this creates a problem because they are free to do it to their own format. Some people may write in italics, some people may write in the wrong sections. It all is not standardized. And that's why we're trying to digitize the form. Yeah.
Just saying this average.
Yeah, next, okay. Yeah. So this is why we're trying to digitize the budget request forms. That way, everything will be more streamlined, everything will look nicer, and we will have an easier time looking and getting that information. And here is one of the forms we use. This form is for our budget operations, for our operational programs on campus. These are part of the school.
No, these are for the DASG's
Yeah.
operational.
Oh, gotcha. DSG operational accounts.
Basically like explain
Yeah.
what that is, like to run the DASG, you need a certain amount of money. So these are like the accounts that run the DASG. So we basically like give a little bit of money to ourselves to make sure that we keep running.
Yeah, and also other programs. And this is the layout of the budget request form. First is and I will need your insight on this now, Dennis. So program, this is they say the program account name. Is this a new DSG account? Please enter your DSG account number. And number of students directly serving in this program. And do you require any additional funding? All basic questions. Is there any problems with these questions, Dennis?
Just have a question about number 5.
Number 5?
So is this just exactly about this year? So what is the purpose there?
Purpose?
Is this, the budget application is for the following fiscal year? So right now, we're going to be accepting applications for the 25-26 fiscal year.
God. Oh, he's saying, then should I just delete this question?
Perhaps, this could be confusing.
Indeed, because the way I did this form was basically copy the paper form from last year onto a digital version.
Well, the question we had on the form last year was, how much did you request for the grant year basically, and how much were you allocated? No, so it was just to get a feel for what was expected. I mean, I guess the question for each and the other for me is, you didn't need that, or we just with the spreadsheet, because it's all on there.
It is all on the spreadsheet. I think this kind of just gives you like a little bit of insight, like are they like increasing their money demand, or are they like keeping the same or something like that? But it's not as important for us to know because we don't have the spreadsheet at the end.
All right. And then on to the next one. This one asks their non-DSG accounts for sources of income. Some programs, they have other sources of income, so they don't need as much funding from DSG. This is to gather information on that. This is all basically copied from last year's paper form. Yeah, all good, Dennis? Okay.
I do want to mention quickly that this might seem a little boring right now, but we do want your inputs on the form. Like if you were a program filling this form, what would you think about it? Okay, so like kind of try to pay a little bit of attention to it and like see what's going on.
All right, so over here, it gives the program an opportunity to describe how they impact the campus. So I'm gonna brief this. Yeah.
Makes the field a long answer. Makes field instead of short answer.
Got it, okay, I'll do that.
Recording in progress.
But other than that, is it okay?
I was, sorry, I'm talking about school. The first question was about what the program. Okay, the supervision. Schooling. Each of these things 16 need to be a longer answer on, so just add it up.
Could work just like this.
Well, I'm talking about that field.
Yes, I think this could be just like a single or two sentence answer.
Well, I don't know if you can fit, I don't know how much you can fit in a short answer.
Do you know how many characters to read through?
Might as well just get a long answer.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, we can just like look into that.
Yeah, just to be safe, we'll make it a long answer. So then what would be?
Make that a longer.
Yeah, all of them will be.
And basically, the only thing that should be short to be like, stuff like that.
And this is where they go into the specifics, where they first identify what object code they will be using, like printing, for example, and write a short description.
I sent you the list. Yeah, a couple hours ago. So.
Then, yes, then after this meeting, I'll get the, yeah, you can send me the program code.
Yeah, I was wondering, if this, like, why aren't you guys just doing a regular form for this? Because I feel like some of the barriers that people always come to when they are filling things out is that, oh, you guys are using a really different like software for filling out documents, and then we a lot of technical issues still.
The entire like.
The district uses Microsoft, it's
Oh,
365, so we have to use the district.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically just a Microsoft version of Google Forms.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, according to Google, it's 12,000 characters, including spaces. Our short answer.
Thank you very much.
For the short answer, this 5,000 characters. That's not, but then it's. Yeah, it's just.
That makes it just, make it long.
Is this something you need a Microsoft account to allow?
Yes, you do need a.
Everyone has one,
Yeah.
including students.
So you're able to quickly explain what object codes are.
Object codes? Yeah, they're basically identification for what types of funding you need. For example, there's student salary, which is what a lot of the programs on campus use because they hire a lot of students. There's also things like supplies, food. Food is another big one. Yeah, food is very important. And
So the code is like, we receive one answer for the information, so it's like what program we've used the money for. So that's the code made for. So all of these code will specify each purpose of the program using the money for.
Another term for the object code or that code in some systems is line item. So line item code or line item description. So it's basically just categories of what the funding can be used for. Yeah, for example.
Is it like you can only do one at a time?
mm,
Like for the form,
for the form, so are you talking about like how many object codes you can put inside a form?
Yeah, like that. right?
Ah, so here, for example, we put down food here and we click next. We can put down another object code, like, what does your program need?
Student salary.
Student salary, okay, let's put that down. Well, what's a short description? Just some random stuff, and then. Yeah. And there we go. And the program can keep doing this until they either hit 13 object codes or they click this last option to exit. And there they go to the next section.
I just want to make a comment because when you have the 2310 expense code, right, for students' salary, there's the benefits always have to go with it. So on the other form, I think it specified that, so I don't know if there's a way to automatically make it, if they're requesting 2310, then 3200 also has to be part of that.
On the paper form, there were some subtitles under each one, so I got for the student salary, underneath the description of what it's for, the smaller text. In parentheses, that's something must also complete 3200. Must also complete on paper 3200. When requesting student salary.
Got it, I'll work on that after.
Yeah, if it's possible or not, but if it's not, then we'll figure out a way to do it. And can you go as a possible to
Go fast.
Choose on in those sections.
So then over here is the last section. It's where the program fills out the budgeter's name and the administrator's name and their relative information. Such as phone number and email.
Sorry, I didn't get to talk about it when you were in that section, but like on the code section, is there like directions anywhere that clarifies like more code will be like provided later or like present when you make it active for me?
No.
Yeah, it's on the top of the page.
So on the top of this page, it says, yeah, please provide specific details for each budget category. Yeah.
Okay, maybe just add the legal links like one at a time and then press next. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, each probably includes something up there that says, you can select more clothes later, just go one at a time.
Okay.
Also, is it possible to make like an exit button right next to the next button instead of making a code?
I'm actually not sure. I actually inherited this form from a previous senator. I basically copied the format.
Okay, yeah, you can look into that.
So,
I
I actually don't know much about Microsoft. But yeah, all right, here's the last page. Basically, the budgeter and the administrators admit information. Yeah, that is that.
Are you doing the reports from me or I don't know if there are some of the other ones that.
like what grid that we have.
Yeah, there was.
To like summarize everything, I don't think we're going to do that because we you can like get everything in a spreadsheet on it, so we know where we need to see the with format, like we did in the paper.
What are, is the information that, was requested, reflected in questions that are here?
I think so, yes, he like basically copied all the questions from there to.
Yeah, but the last year's paper form didn't have them.
No, it did.
No,
On the
there
last
were,
page,
there were,
yeah,
yeah, no, there's,
I think I
in
have,
addition to what you've got here, there were two other pages.
yes,
Yeah, one is RFI, the other one is the attachments.
Attachments, yes. So that's another thing, we'll need a way to follow the attachments, that is, the Microsoft form, just sort of.
well, like this one, asking about the budget accounts.
It's after the object goes.
That's. Yeah, I think I would.
Or operator.
There's two of them. No.
Yeah, because
How long do they?
wow. Maybe I'm first. I would have known that.
We're gonna, yeah.
Right, thank you everyone. Now, what Yan presented just now was the budget request form for internal operations. Now I'll be covering the changes for the budget request form for campus programs. So the first thing I would like to address is that I went through the budget guiding principles again, and I wanted to make sure that this aligned with our rubric criteria. So the main budget guiding principles that I found relevant to our evaluation are the highlighted ones. And it can be divided into three main categories, which are impact, DEI, and environmental. And after this is the old budget rubrics, which I'll not go into so much detail right now. But the new budget rubrics that I am proposing would include these three areas as evaluation criteria. So the three highlighted items, impact, DEI, and environmental sustainability, would be the three roles that ensure that the program aligns with the budget guiding principles. And everything else below are additional information that would help us evaluate these programs. So stuff like marketing, promotion, online services, active student involvement. Those are already questions that we've been asking the programs. But the only problem was that in the previous form, there was not much alignment with the guiding principles. So it's very difficult for us to ascertain if the programs are following the guiding principles or not. So with this, I go to the budget request form for the programs. So everything is pretty much similar to the operations, except the RFI section. So the RFI section is basically is the part of the form where the programs will give us the information we want, information that will help us learn more about their program, their needs, and how much money that they're looking for. So all these questions, they directly answer all of our rubric criteria on this side. Promotion, online services, active student involvement, everything down here. The first section of the RFI asks all these questions. That brings us to the second section of the RFI, which now asks questions which helps us to answer these three rows of the rubrics, which are aligned with the budget guiding principles. And each question is a direct question that follows this, the guiding principles. So the main differences between this form and Yan Ming's form is the RFI. Is the RFI section, which is split into questions based on the budget guiding principles, and also questions that are not based on the budget guiding principles. And so if you would like to look through the new questions and give some feedback, now would be a good time. Really quick, the third section of the RFI relates to what did you say? There's only two sections of the RFI. Okay. So the first section of the RFI asks non-guiding principle questions, and the second section asks questions based on the guiding principle. Dennis, do you have any feedback?
Yeah, especially when I ask like Lisa and Dennis, because we all have seen like the paper forms and stuff like that. So any thoughts on how it's translating over?
It's hard to.
I had a question because this seems very long. Is there a way that when someone's doing these forms that they can come back to it? Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
You can say
It's
But you have to go through to the end of the form before you can say it, because that's one thing
Yeah.
I'm sure of.
I think it just like saves to one like automatically as soon as you're done with like putting details.
it's a setting that you can enable. Yeah, you can.
So in that case, someone wants to reload the page, it would say.
Sorry, say again.
So in that case, if someone wants to reload this page, it wouldn't say.
It would, because it saves that as soon as you type something, it saves that to your OneDrive. And so if you log in from the same account, it should have the information.
Can I ask you how many programs have submitted budget requests to you guys?
A lot, dude. How many?
Approximately
More than 30
programs
programs
last
last
year. Something like 80.
Close to 100.
Close to 100, and then how long does it take you guys on average to kind of get through a, what is it called, a request? Seems like it's a lot of information that they're inputting, right? So it seems like it's a lot of information that you guys would have to read through, and then you can multiply that by like 90 or 100 or whatever that is.
Yes, so we take yeah, go ahead.
So that's a good question because in the previous form, what happened was that there were less questions, yes, but the questions that were asked, like the responses to those questions, don't help us evaluate the programs very well if we are comparing it with the budget guiding principles. But so this form, while yes, it is longer in length, it is easier on the budget analysts because we see a question, we see the response, we can directly make the comparison to the budget guiding principles and make an assessment. So every program that comes in with their budget request, it passes through like our evaluations quicker. So we don't need to pick information from various parts of the forms and trying to figure out, are they trying to answer this question or we're trying to find this out, but I don't see the information. So like this, if it's not there, it's not there. And if it's there, it's there. So I think it's easier for us.
And so what you're saying is, I'm so sorry, I just wanted to confirm, so what you're saying is because you guys made your questions, like, it's more accurate to your rubric, that's what decreases the time compared to the last one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then I just wanna confirm that the person who would be filling out this form on the other end, they would understand what these terms mean, right? It's not like you understand the technical terms, but they don't understand what you mean exactly, like, it's.
Yeah, this would not be an issue because the people filling out these forms, they've been doing it for years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so.
Feedback, I think the main thing is gonna be talking to our advisors about length and maybe like if there's any questions that seem almost too similar or if
All the questions really has that info, that's very like.
I agree. Although, you know, it seems long. That's something that they were just gonna have to take time to really reflect on.
The rest is the same as, yeah. The rest of the form is same as the previous request form for internal operations.
Go ahead.
Sorry, who is it who fills out these forms for the programs? Is it like students who are affiliated with it, or is it like the teachers or faculty who are a part of the programs, or?
So it's usually like the budgeters and the administrators who are like faculty members who are responsible.
Staff or administrators, I got it, and students aren't as involved in that area, kind of, they're not as involved in the budget request and everything?
Not exactly in the budget request part, but students can be extremely involved with programs.
Thank you.
I don't understand.
And I just remembered something.
The RFIs and ones because we don't really need that. Genji, do you have any feedback on the new form that we just talked about?
You don't have to. The volume statements.
Genji, do you have any feedback? No.
Especially,
Okay. Moving on to the last business item for today, the Finance Fund 46 webpage. Glenn, if I could have you up here. So you'll be explaining a little bit about what Fund 46 is and what.
So when you guys watch the video, we have like $1 million budget, right? So when we fund the program, we will mainly divide to two most important funds. It's Fund 46 and Fund 41. So Fund 41 is like Jack and Jamie. So it's fund for operational budget and also like the programs on campus. And Fund 46, especially for advocacy programs. Is anyone here interested in advocacy stuff? Like we have two people, so this is the Fund 46 one. It's info and.
So Fund 41 is just basically the general needs. Fund 46 is the student representation fee budget or SRF. So Fund 41, most of the revenue for that comes from the DSG, the student body membership fee, and also the revenue from the flea market. The Fund 46 is only from the student representation fee, and it is very restricted what it can be used for. Fund 41 can be used for anything, including the types of projects that Fund 46 can fund. But Fund 46 can only fund things like advocacy and, related things. So like there's statewide, there's student senate, health community colleges, attending conferences and workshops, going to Sacramento and so on, those kinds of things.
Thank you. And when you guys pay for your tuition fee, so this will have a small pop-up say, would you like to pay $2 representative fee? Anyone see that?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's one is for this fund, and it's called Student Representation Fee Fund 46, and we established the fund on the California Education Code, and we make the whole separate web page for the fund. So this one I made to give the overview, what's the fund is and what is used for. So we will go through it. So the fund is the definition, as Dennis said, we pay the $2 per term to the Fund 46, and then we will divide half of it will go to the recognized programs, I think. What is the called, Dennis? The half of the fund will be sent to the recognized.
Well, so it's a $2 fee, but half of it, $1, stays at the answer for DSG to allocate. And $1 is, must go to the state for the state student senate.
Yes, so that's mean this CD 8,000 will leave us around like 35,000 something for DASG only. This is the total, and I remember 33,000 go to the other, and
yeah, whatever.
So the rest of this one will stay here with us to fund for the advocacy programs on campus, and the benefits is organize events, facilitate educational mobilization campaign, and train students. We have like some advocacy programs that will hire students to do internship, and they will pay for them to let the training. And the second page will about testimonials and achievements of the Fund 46. So what did they do and what did they achieve? And this from student testimonials who was and maybe some currently still is the interns for the program. And then we will move up to your payment. So when you pay $2, how will it be allocated, distributed through this program? So we have VIDA, public policies, FA back internship, and FAC advocacy. This one is the conference for us, right? FACCC advocacy conference.
Which
that's FAPAC, yeah, that's separate.
Yes, so they will have conference and also internship for others. So that's how we use the fund and distribute the fund. And then more information about how to apply for it. Some requirement and eligibility. And the final one is the Q&A section. And do you want to have
I don't now, but I would like to ask everyone if they have a good idea of what the student representation fee is by looking at this. Any inputs? Like, did someone understand what the SRF fee is? Go ahead.
You can go.
It's just a $2 fee tacked on for, is it per quarter or is it per year?
Per quarter.
Per quarter, okay, and then all students have to pay that?
You don't.
You don't have to, you can choose.
opt, yeah, correct.
You can choose to opt out when you pay the tuition, so if you ask you if you want to pay or not, you can choose to opt out, and because this, when web page is not, does not exist before, so student, basically, they don't know what is it, and they just to opt out a lot, so we lost a lot often, so that's why we made the page to explain to them.
Yes, if you apply for the fund, does this mean you get access to it each quarter, or do you apply once every?
What do you mean by apply?
It says how to apply for the fund.
Oh, that would be like the budget request form. That's for programs to apply. Students, when they pay, it will ask each quarter if they want to pay it or not.
Mm-hmm. So that means they don't get access to this $2 fee, or at least half of it. They would have, the money they would apply for is from the programs fund.
But the students don't apply for any of the.
Yeah, the
funds, correct?
program, I mean.
But certain programs on campus can apply for the student representation fee funds.
Oh, okay.
And so the fees that the students are paying is what goes into the student representation fee, budget.
Mhm.
And I guess it goes back to what he was saying about the opt-out and a little bit of history. So when this was first enacted by the state, it was originally optional, at least at the college level. Students could opt out, but it wasn't like mandated. They had to be asked like right then and there when they're, in the registration system paying. Later on, the state changed the law, made it a mandatory fee at all campuses with, so it's mandatory that all campuses have it, but they must allow students to opt in or out when they register. So since that has happened, the revenue has gone way down. There's a lot of students, if not most, I don't know the exact numbers right now, but a lot of students are now opting out and. The issue is that, many of these students have never even been to campus before. They've never spoken to anyone here yet, so they don't even know about the student rep fee, what it's for. They just see that prompt and say, I'm not gonna pay it. So the idea of creating this webpage and then some other, marketing and so on, just to let students know about it is hopefully for their future quarters, they will start paying.
I just want to clarify too, it's only fall, winter, and spring, not summer. So the fee is not collected in the summer.
Well, for summer quarter.
For summer quarter.
Yes, it's
Right, but, most community colleges are on semester systems, so. We're for this.
Do you think changing the name would help? Like, or does it have to come on the student presentation?
That's what it's called in the state law.
And is it possible to add that information or, whether it's a link to what the representation fee goes for or a little description of what it is? Like when you opt in or opt out of it?
Yes, so that's what we're working on right now. We're gonna put this on the webpage so that when students will have the option to opt in or out of the fee, they would be able to see all this information and
Yeah, there is a brief description, not very, it doesn't say a whole lot. And we're hoping to be able to get a link to this page added to that prompt. And, don't know if Foothill has a similar page, but they would want to get it added too if they do. It's a universal prompt for the whole district, so it can't be customized. It's just part of the registration system. All students, whether they're Foothill or the see the same message.
Because it would be really cool if it was
But
something
we're
like.
hoping that we can add a couple of links to it, and one for the answer, and then one for Foothill, they also have a page.
it would be really cool to with something rather than a link, if it was like data that shows what that money was spent on, for examples of what that.
No, we can't do anything on the registration system. It's a small pop-up. That's all we're able to do in the registration system. Thank you.
What percentage of students opt out? You know,
Most of them.
Well,
Well-
it's not most of them, but like last year, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, we had fee waivers of the opt-out total $16,922. So divide that by 2. You could get, that's across fall through spring, how many students were opting, how many fees were opted out?
So what was it? 16?
16,922, so divide it by 2.
So 8,000 people
Yeah.
over the 3 quarters opted out last year.
Actually, that's not too bad, but when you look at it in dollars, it is.
I mean, the student rep fee budget is relatively small, even when it was at its largest, it was 100,000-ish at most. Yeah, so compared to the DSG budget, even a small, 8,000 students opting out is a huge chunk of the student rep fee budget.
And also, we like, since this budget is small, we've like historically had to like fund some Fund 46 stuff using Fund 41. Because we just like simply ran out of money.
And then, it's also based on, when we look at before the opt-out message had to be in the registration system and after, you see a huge difference there. So we're trying to make sure that we can, at least make up for it somewhat by letting students know what it's for. And even if they didn't pay the first quarter here, hopefully in the future quarters, knowing more about it.
During the orientation days, can the counselor talk about that during the presentation on data?
Like the counselors that we answered.
Yeah, during the 2 orientation days, they could talk about that.
Okay, that's a great point. But do we allow, I think we should be allowed to do that, right? So
We can make
actually
suggestions, I'm not sure about the orientation program, but yeah, we can make suggestions about what they cover. But there's no guarantee we can get it. I don't know how much they cover about the fees, so.
so what would be your main way of advertising this article if you aren't able to put it onto the forum? Because it seems kind of underground of like this article, if you aren't able to put it on the part where you opt out or opt in.
I mean, we are working to put it over there. This exists only.
Even if we don't, how are you going to market this?
Yeah, how do you advertise it?
We could probably like
Well, we had already
Yeah.
talked about.
email it around.
Well,
Talk to
talk to
students, yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
So the DSG marketing committee would be, asked to help with this. And all the usual methods that DSG uses to market, whether it's events or other things, would be used to,
Yeah.
continually let students know about this throughout the year.
I think that the media in which like you're trying to convey this information is not exactly the best. I feel like if you made a 30-second video, it'd be much more effective in reaching a broader audience and as well as reaching the people that you want to reach. For example, you could go to the Deanza Instagram page, which has 8,000 followers. If you post an article, nine times out of 10, you're gonna be scrolling past it through stories. But if it's a reel, it'll appear on your For You page or any other place. So I think the media in which you're trying to convey this information isn't the most effective. I think it should be converted into a video, specifically a short-term video.
Okay.
That's just my suggestion.
No, that's a great point. Thank you.
Something I want to add, I spoke with Hyunju a little bit about this. Previously, nearby, there was a lot of shops like boba tea and some stuff, and there are still some nearby, but they were like right near campus. We were able to have like a student discount partnership there that you can only receive through the student rep fee. I don't know if that's
not student rep fee,
so DAG, okay. Well then that wouldn't apply here.
And it was basically to show your DSG card to show that you're currently as a student, and they would give you a discount.
Are we able to do any kind of incentive, like with the student rep fee, like, oh, probably not,
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment though, that the financial statements are posted on the website, Fund 46, you can see what programs are funded, the budget, the actual, spent on that. Just want to make sure everybody knows that actually we're marking it, sign.
Anyone else have any inputs, comments, suggestions?
Yeah, actually, Lisa, can you repeat that, please?
The financial statements, we do monthly financial statements on our website. Are they- Yeah, so, the month of June, it will show for a complete year, so for like 2023, 2024 would be the June financial statement. It's a whole lot of financial statements all combined into one, but the Fund 46 income statement is where you would see with the budget, you know, actual and all that, for the whole year.
Thank you.
Lastly, I agree with his idea about making like a short video, and someone else's idea about putting it into, an orientation or something when you first join Pianta. Because then, you know, you get to see it, and I think in like each like a 30-second video, you just briefly talk about what it does. Cause like, I think a lot of people would just be seeing like, oh, it's just a $2 payment, they're not really knowing where it goes and like what it goes towards. If you just briefly talk about like what it's gonna do and how it's gonna help you, I think a lot more people would be willing to opt in.
Okay. Last couple.
I just like to build off that by saying that I don't think it should be like soulless, or like, I think there should be a lot of like funny memes or like things that like create a comedic effect to ensure that it reaches more people.
Okay, okay, that's all. Sounds good.
Last thing, ETA on when this would go live.
We're still working on it. We don't have an estimate for now, but we will keep you all updated.
Okay.
That's also my question, so we ask Dennis,
As soon as everything's finalized, it won't take long to create this basic one page. But if we want to put some other information as well, you know, do some graphics, a video, then that's gonna take more work for that and video as well.
Maybe you can just like start by putting this on.
Well,
and
yeah,
then
but
maybe
what's
we can
the
start working on it. Yeah. Okay.
so for this one, do you have any suggestions? On this,
I feel like this said we would like the timeline version. I think
Well,
what
you just said it. Find is that we said everything was either a link or, as a finder, as a link or a kind of, there's a copy engagement, PDF just always effective.
So it's good. We're gonna get into this. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was the last business item. I'll now move on to any public comments that anyone has. Any public comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the marketing committee requested that we take all the senators take a selfie with our interns. So if it's possible, could we all just stay a little bit after the meeting?
All right. I also want to make a public comment. Thank you everyone for showing up today. I know the first finance meeting is always a little bit intimidating. I remember when it was my first finance meeting, I showed up and everyone was talking about, I remember this, Fund 41 and Fund 46, and the first thing I thought was, what's 42, 43, 44, and 45? You are not gonna deal with those, so don't worry about those four, when you're only gonna be talking about Fund 41 and Fund 46. So if that was a doubt in your mind, I hope I cleared that up. Yeah, Glenn, go ahead.
and thank you everyone for your contribution, Ash and what's your name? Cyrus. Cyrus, yeah, so it helped us a lot because we need a lot of inputs from new students who we try to target this form for to help them understand and advocate for themselves, about their communities. So your input really matters, and thank you a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I just want to really build on as well. If you're a little lost, that is perfectly okay and perfectly normal. All of us were lost within the first couple of meetings.
Yeah, and if you're not lost, then that's concerning, like that's some Yanming type stuff. Exactly, you knew the way from the start, okay. So, yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Discord through email, dsgfinance@phda.edu. And Discord is pretty easy to like communicate. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on to advisor announcements. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that I believe that the finance committee did a great job presenting all their items today at the first meeting, and, yeah.
Thank you, Zach, Luca, Dan, Yanming.
Will we wrap up the attendance today?
Yeah, after, already. Dennis and Lisa. Any advice?
Just, I look forward to working with all of you and thank you. It's a lot of students here, so excited to see all of you getting involved with the finance committee and the budget process that's coming up.
Awesome. Dennis, anything you want to mention?
I'll go with, Malia said, quick meeting, glad everyone's here. There looks like there's a lot of people in there. So look forward to working with them.
Awesome. Yeah, will you go ahead?
I don't see it. The speaker.
Genju, go ahead.
Okay, great, thanks. Again, I think I heard some congratulatory remarks, so I just want to go ahead and also affirm that this was a great first meeting. So Adita, big applauds to you for running a very smooth first meeting of the year, and I love that you all started off with kind of this icebreaker. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of what you all gonna do this year, and I also appreciate the fact that you're trying to make things a lot easier for our campus in terms of the forms and such. So good job.
All right, now moving on to the introduction and approval of prospective interns. So if everyone can like get up and form a line in an orderly fashion, I think we can achieve that. Okay, let's start from here. Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. I forgot to tell you what you need to do. You need to write your name and the meeting, like, this is your first meeting, so you write like meeting 1 or something like that, okay? And your name at first. In the chat, yeah.
To be eligible for an intern, you need to participate in 2
meetings at least.
So you, putting your name down kind of marks that you were part of this meeting.
We kind of like tell you why at least on campus, it's not always the way.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. We will talk about that.
We're going back now.
Okay.
Yeah, if you guys want to be an intern, just line up over here by me and you can type your name. Yeah, you guys should, everybody come this way, this way.
That'll be fine. Also, don't leave right now. We still have to take a photo with everybody. So then put your name in and then say where you are. We're gonna take a selfie real quick, okay? Yeah. Like everyone who's done stands over here. And everyone who's left, in the mind, you just like pick up one of them right now. Yeah, not.
So. Yeah. But maybe less. Yeah. I was trying to.
Okay, everyone, if you're done, can you come to the middle so we can click a quick photo real quick? Yeah, Vic is doing the photo now.
Oh, Vic, see?
All right, everyone, please stand over to the middle.
Marty,
Yeah.
are we doing the Canvas quiz anymore? Oh, why, wait, listen, the Canvas, are we doing the Canvas quiz anymore? She's asking about the Canvas quiz.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. Okay. I adjourned this meeting at 5:30.